Welcome to the scary truth about Driveclub's top clubs and how they might have gotten there. This isn't necessarily bashing any particular club or the way in which clubs got to the top, because I'm sure many, if not all, definitely deserve being there for all the work that was put into it, all the amount of people who joined the club over time to get to that point. But this is just stating some facts and in ways in which those facts were gotten. How I'm doing this is one of the top clubs with all of the accolades unlocked allowed for anyone to enter. So I entered it with my alternate account. Main account still is on Team Mopar, which by the way has one spot remaining if you want to join it. It's going to be featured later in the video for comparison's sake. Definitely not just to have a Team Mopar ad. But honestly, this is the bit of the video where it is an ad. There's a Team Mopar 2 as well now. That has 2 spots open if you want to join it. That is the ad, but this is not. This is for comparison's sakes, totally and completely. This is the top club in overall leaderboards that allows anyone to join that is not full. At this point, there was only 3 people in it, so I was able to join it quite easily, but I think there's 6 people in the club now, but there may be others in which have max accolades that you can join if you want. Just look on Driveclub itself to find that. But in terms of this, as y'all can see here, all of the accolades are unlocked. The total amount of points gained throughout the club's entire existence is 26.7 billion, which ends up having it ranked 10th worldwide. The top club worldwide obviously has all of its accolades unlocked too, and it is well over 100 billion total points. It's a bit of comparison, but here's the direct comparison to Team Mopar. Next, I'm going to show how much points I earn when doing an event with this club, and then also the total points I earn when doing an event with Team Mopar. As y'all can see, again, that's with all of the max accolades. A team gets 62,000 plus points, when the base is 1,600-ish. I'm not the best with math, but to make it simple, that means you get roughly 50 times the total amount of points when you're on a team with the max accolades compared to not being on a team at all. And again, this is for max accolades 50 times more. So now let's move to what it is with Team Mopar. And then lastly, also the Team Mopar stats at the end for how much accolades it has unlocked. In terms of Team Mopar's benefit from being on a team, the base is 2,000-ish, and then you get almost 5,000-ish. So, for comparison's sake, I'll say that's 120% more. 50 times more, well, 50 times 100 is 5,000. So there's a bit of a difference there. 5,000% more with all of the accolades unlocked, compared to 120% with, well, y'all see how many accolades unlocked. So overall, let's just say 45 times more total. I'm not the best with math. Let's just say that for simplicity's sake. 40 times more with the total amount of accolades unlocked, all of them, compared to Team Mopar's accolades being, well, that's proof that there's at least one not unlocked. But first, also the general screen. Team Mopar has a little over 2 billion points, compared to the other teams on with all of the accolades unlocked, a bit over 20 million points. So again, for comparison's sake, I'll do it's roughly 10 times more for the team with all of the accolades versus the team with, well, this amount of accolades also in a minute. Compared to an event, you gain roughly 45 times more than the team with this amount of accolades versus the max accolades. And, well, this is how many accolades Team Mopar has, being 127th worldwide. Now this will just have to sew. And y'all can take this as you may, too. This is totally not a recruitment video. This totally has a point. The recruitment part was for Team Mopar 2, wink wink, which has 2 spots open. I'm not picky about who joins, first come, first serve. As long as you're active, you stay, pretty much. Or if you ask. If you have, like, going off and you know you're going to come on later, just message me, that's fine. But anyway, that's Team Mopar's accolades open. So, well, with all of the things considered, and all of the analysis made with all of the facts given here, this is honestly the scary truth about the top teams and possibly how they got there. Remember how I said it's roughly 45 times more you get with on a team with all of the accolades unlocked versus Team Mopar with this amount of accolades unlocked? Well, a team with all of the accolades unlocked that is 10th worldwide has about 10 times more total points than Team Mopar. When you get per event, 45 times more points. Y'all see a bit of a discrepancy there. I'll go back to the initial team to show it. That's 26.7 billion points. Team Mopar's not quite at 2.6 billion, but maybe 11 times to make it slightly fair. 11 times is a lot less than 45 times, but yet that's just how it is. And if you think about it too, Team Mopar is 127th worldwide, which is also about 11 times less than this particular team. Which again, I'm not bashing a particular team, I'm just saying that the system is a bit messed up, and I get the verdict of that in a minute. So, aka Team Mopar is about 10 times less on the leaderboards, or 11 times less on the leaderboards too, with also having about 11 times less points. That's pretty linear, but the amount of points you get per event is not. And I also have a theory about that, so that some teams, and they may have not gotten a legitimate amount of points. Again, I'm not going to say which teams did or didn't, because I don't know, I haven't been on the teams in the past. But I kind of have a hunch that some teams, well, had an unfair advantage, only gained through, this is a scary Halloweeny bit, microtransactions. Da, da, da. Yeah, if you think, or if you remember back, if you played Driveclub, there were microtransactions in which you could get where you buy a certain amount of fame and all the other stuff, which I never did. Again, I would never ever in the history of time buy microtransactions that give you in-game currency with real money. I would never do that ever. But that was an option in which you could do it. I think you might still be able to do it, given that Driveclub still is online. Maybe. Maybe not, given that the company doesn't exist anymore, but I have a hunch that microtransactions probably live longer than the companies themselves. I just have a hunch. I don't know that for a fact, but again, this is more of a theory, basing it on the previous facts I've shown. The truth part is the actual facts. This bit is the theory of microtransactions made it a little bit unfair for teams to get to where they are. And let's just do some simple math. 45 divided by 11, let's just say that's 4. It's probably not exactly accurate, let's just say it's 4. In theory, that basically means teams might have, if they bought the microtransactions, if they did 4 times less work to get to all of the accolades unlocked and high up on the leaderboards than Team Mopar, for example, did to get 10 times lower on the leaderboards. 4 times less work to get 10 times or 11 times higher on the leaderboards, which equals overall 44 times difference in total amount of work versus payout. Doesn't that sound a little bit fishy, folks? I know there's a lot of math there, and I guarantee a lot of it wasn't exactly correct, but this is just to get a general sense. Just so that microtransactions, even in a game where the company doesn't even exist anymore, still kind of plagued it to the point of who knows how much work someone truly did to get on the leaderboard. Again, I'm not necessarily saying this club did it or didn't, because I don't know. I'm just now got in it with my alternate account, and then now I'm back to T-Mobile Part 2 with my alternate account too, which now exists, so join it as well. Because no microtransaction club was still ultimately able to get to 127th in the world. I don't know about other club members if they use microtransactions or not, but I know I didn't, so I'm just going to go if the club didn't. Because, again, the other clubs, I don't know if they did or not, so I'm just going to assume the best and say the one I sold didn't, and I'm going to assume the best is so this team didn't either. But I will say there's teams out there with a whole heck of a heap more than 26 billion points, too, with all of the accolades unlocked. So, yeah, y'all can take that as you may. But to sum it up, Team Mopar, roughly 11 times lower on the leaderboards than the team that I sold with max accolades, and there's teams much higher on the leaderboards with max accolades as well that have almost 4 times more, if not even more points than the team that I showed. But yet, max accolades make you have 50 times more, 50-ish times more points than not being on a team at all. But then yet, Team Mopar, which is 127th in the world, gives you about a 120% advantage versus roughly the 5,000% advantage of having all of the accolades unlocked. A team that's 10th. Yeah, those numbers don't quite match, folks. I know this wasn't necessarily perfectly into the exact specifics video, like the math isn't 100% correct, and there is kind of a theory there, and it's also kind of an ad too. But I think we can all agree that microtransactions are terrible when you're buying in-game currency with real money. Even on a game like Driveclub, that still has a whole heck of a heap of negative effects. Now, I'm not saying if microtransactions weren't a thing, that Team Mopar would be top 10 worldwide. I didn't even get the game till after a year came out. Maybe if I got it on release, there might be a slim possibility of that happening. But I didn't, and I accept that. What I am saying is that there's some teams that's probably higher than Team Mopar that have done less work to get there. I'm not going to say names, but y'all can make your own assumptions on that. This right here that I'm showing is just the facts. And then there's theories to go along with the facts, but literally what's on screen now is fact. The theories, take that as you may, but nonetheless, the facts are there as well. So, that's that, folks. It's really not worth the hee-haw in the grand scheme of things, but it is kind of worth the hee-haw without buying any microtransactions whatsoever, that Team Mopar is still able to get nearly to the top 100 worldwide, when there's teams out there gaining 50 times more per event that are only 10 times higher on the leaderboards. That's pretty good gains for Team Mopar, and there can be even more gains if you join Team Mopar. And Team Mopar 2 as well. Wink, wink. But this bit is serious. Microtransactions are terrible. That rots my teeth out more than the candy I get for Halloween. I'll just put it like that.